Welcome to Mythos AI, your source for Cliff's Notes on complex subjects. Join Anna and Phil for yet another engaging conversation.
Ever scroll through your feed and think, wait, haven't I seen this before? Like, same memes, same arguments, even the outrage feels recycled.
Yeah, it's like digital déjà vu.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like we're all living the same Tuesday, but, online.
You're on to something there.
Yeah.
That's actually what we're diving into today. The memetic wave.
The what now?
The memetic wave. It's basically how our online experiences, even with all the variety out there, are becoming, well, eerily similar. You shared a fascinating audio clip that lays it out, so we're going to unpack that for you and, more importantly, see what we can actually do about it.
Okay, so break down for me. Memetic wave, what is that?
Well, think of it like, think of the internet like a house, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
You start with a blueprint, a foundation of values. So for the internet, a lot of that was about individualism, freedom of expression, that whole be your own boss spirit.
Yeah, classic internet, right?
Yeah.
Like you carve your own path, build your own platform, all that.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Those values, as great as they sound, don't always translate the same way across different cultures.
Right, because what one person sees as freedom, another might experience as, like, chaos,
Exactly. It's like everyone got the same blueprint, but ended up building wildly different houses.
Interesting. So even with that shared starting point, we end up with these totally different interpretations, different outcomes. Like it's not as simple as, hey, everyone, let's be individualistic.
Right. It gets way more nuanced.
Way more nuance.
And those differing interpretations, they end up influencing how we, present ourselves online,
Oh.
the communities we form, even what we find, entertaining.
So this is where that whole sameness thing starts to creep in.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me an example. How does this actually play out in the, the digital world?
Okay, well, think about the whole build your personal brand thing.
Yeah.
It's everywhere online, right?
It is.
But in some cultures, that kind of self-promotion, it clashes with their values. Community, humility, collective achievement. They were handed the blueprint for a mansion, but they're trying to build a yurt.
Ah, I see. It's like we're all handed the same Instagram starter kit, even if it doesn't really fit our style.
And that's the point. Even with those, positive values, like individuality at its core, you can see how things can still become homogenous. Everyone's striving for the same type of unique,
Yeah, we're all building McMansions, just with slightly different paint colors.
perfect analogy. But it's not just these initial blueprints causing this, right? There are other forces at play here, forces that are subtly kind of nudging us towards certain building materials, so to speak.
Okay, I'm listening. What kind of forces?
Algorithms.
Everyone's favorite scapegoat.
Right.
But seriously, how do algorithms play into this whole memetic wave thing? It still feels kind of mysterious to me.
It's not magic, but it's also not always intuitive. See,
Right.
every minute you're online, you're dropping these digital breadcrumbs, likes, clicks, shares, all of it. And algorithms, they're like those invisible forest rangers, gathering those crumbs, analyzing your every move. And then they use all that data to build you a personalized map. Oh, this person spent extra time reading about sustainable living. Let's give them 10 more articles on that and connect them with a composting forum. You see?
So they're playing matchmaker with our interests.
Kind of, yeah. They're trying to give us more of what they think we want.
Right, but how do they know what we actually want?
Well, and that's where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
While algorithms are great at giving us more of what we like, they're not always the best at figuring out what we need.
Oh, I see. So, I might like scrolling through endless memes,
Right?
but what I really need is to, I don't know, finally learn a new language or something.
Exactly. It's like eating your favorite food every single day. You might love pizza, but eventually your body's going to crave a more balanced diet, right?
Makes sense.
It's the same with information. Just like our bodies need a variety of nutrients, our minds, they need a diverse information diet to thrive.
Otherwise, we risk getting stuck in a rut. Or, like you said, a narrow band of thought.
Exactly. And it's not just about the information itself. It's also about the kind of information and how it's presented. Our brains, they thrive on novelty, on encountering different viewpoints and having our assumptions challenge those, wait, I've never thought of it that way before, moments.
And it's those moments of friction that actually help us learn and grow.
You got it. But if we're constantly fed the same type of information, it's easy to get stuck in this loop, Yeah, and we end up missing out on those aha moments that spark real understanding.
It's like the algorithm's so busy being a good host, constantly refilling my plate with pizza,
Right.
that it forgets to offer me the rest of the menu. It's really easy to fall into that trap. You think you're exploring all these new ideas, but really you're just going in circles around the same old stuff.
And it's not just about avoiding boredom,
Hmm.
right? When we encounter different viewpoints, when we experience those moments of friction, as you said, that's where the real learning happens, the real growth. Like, think about it. You don't build muscle by lifting the same weight every single day.
So how do we break out of that, the digital weight room? How do we actually challenge ourselves, especially when it's so easy to stay comfortable?
That's the thing, isn't it? These echo chambers, these algorithms, they create this feeling of comfort, this like false sense of being in the know, right?
Yeah.
But it can actually starve us of the diverse perspectives we need to actually become well-rounded, digital
Because
citizens.
it's so easy to mistake familiarity for actual knowledge.
Exactly. We think, oh, I've seen this before, I know this, but do we really?
Right, right,
And that's where things get, I think, really interesting because we're not just like passive consumers of this information. We
right.
have a role to play in shaping this digital landscape.
Okay.
Every share, every comment, it's like adding another brick to this world that we're all building together.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to think about it. It's like suddenly you realize, wow, these small actions, they actually do make a difference.
They do.
So what am I even doing with my digital bricks? Am I like reinforcing the same old structures?
hmm
Or am I actually trying to build something new?
That's the question, right? Are we amplifying meaningful conversations or are we just adding to the noise? Are we building bridges or are we reinforcing these walls?
It's a lot of responsibility when you think about it like that.
It is. It's huge. And that's why this whole idea of intentionality is so, so important. Recognizing that the mimetic wave exists,
Right.
understanding how these algorithms work, and then acknowledging the power that we have, you and I, as digital citizens, it all starts with that awareness.
Okay, awareness is step one. I'm with you.
hmm
But how do we actually break free from that cycle? How do we, like, ditch the prefabricated condo and build something actually unique? I mean, for real.
Okay, I love the enthusiasm. And you're right, we've been talking about building a lot, so let's talk about diversifying your information diet as a good starting point.
So going beyond just my usual internet haunts, like those blogs that I always agree with, the same news sources, the influencers who always seem to be, like, on the same page as me.
Precisely. Think about like the last time you learned something new that really changed your perspective. Was it from a source you regularly consume, or was it something outside of your usual bubble?
It's funny you say that because now that I think about it, those aha moments, they usually come when I'm least expecting them.
Exactly. So instead of just surrounding yourself with people who echo all your existing beliefs, actively seek out different perspectives, even if, especially if, they challenge your views a little bit.
It's like trying a new genre of music or tasting a cuisine you've never had before.
Yes.
You might discover some hidden gems, expand your palate, gain a deeper appreciation for, like, just all the complexities of, the world and all the different ways of looking at things.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about adding some new flavors to that information diet, becoming more nuanced. And remember how we were talking about the algorithms tracking everything we do online?
Yeah.
It's not just about what we consume, it's
Hmm.
also about what we're contributing back to this whole digital ecosystem.
Right, because what I share and like, that all gets fed into the algorithm too. So before I just automatically retweet something, it's probably a good idea to pause and actually ask myself, hold on, what am I adding to this conversation? Am I contributing to the echo chamber? Or am I actually amplifying a diverse perspective?
Yeah. You're getting it. It's about bringing that same thoughtfulness to your online life that you hopefully bring to your offline life, right? Think of your online presence as like an extension of your values,
Mm,
your desire to learn and grow.
okay, that's a good way to think about it.
hmm
I'm tracking with you. But I'm not going to lie, it still feels like a lot.
Right.
Are there any, like, I don't know, mental shortcuts or strategies? Like, what can I actually do to, navigate this digital landscape a little bit more consciously?
Yeah, of course. Think of it like spring cleaning,
Okay.
but for your digital life, a digital neighborhood audit.
Ooh, I like that. Digital neighborhood audit. Okay,
Yeah.
what does that look like practically?
It's simpler than you think. It's really just taking stock. Who are you following on social media?
Okay.
What pages have you liked? Where do you get your news? And ask yourself, does this digital ecosystem, all of this, does it reflect a diversity of viewpoints? Or have I accidentally built myself an echo chamber?
Which, let's be honest, is scarily easy to do.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The algorithm shows you what it thinks you want to see, and then we reinforce that by clicking and liking and whatever.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending loop.
It's true. But the really empowering part of all this is that we can actually break free.
We can.
We can.
Yeah.
We can break that cycle by consciously choosing to diversify those feeds, seek out those alternative viewpoints, and just being more mindful of the content we share. We can literally reshape the algorithm one click at a time.
So it's not about like swearing off algorithms altogether or becoming some kind of, digital hermit.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's about being a more conscious participant in this digital world that, we're all building together.
It's like we're all digital world builders, I guess.
Exactly.
But we just don't realize how much control we actually have.
We have more than we think, that's for sure. And that's what makes this whole conversation so important. It's not just about, escaping this memetic wave ourselves, but it's about creating a better experience for everyone, a more interesting online world, a more diverse one.
So as we're wrapping up our deep dive here, any final words of wisdom? How can we actually make that happen? How do we actually build that better digital world?
It really is all about taking those small but intentional actions.
Okay.
Like we talked about, audit your digital neighborhood. Be mindful of what you're consuming, what you're sharing, the whole 9 yards. And remember, you have a voice in all of this. You have a choice, and you have an influence.
Right.
Don't ever underestimate that.
No pressure.
Right.
But seriously, it's actually really empowering to know that we have more agency than we think. We don't just have to get swept away by this memetic wave.
We can learn to surf.
We can surf it, yeah.
Ride those waves.
Navigate.
Influence. You can even influence where those waves go.
I like that.
Use that power wisely. You really can create a more vibrant and engaging digital world for everyone.
That is a great note to end on. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the memetic wave, how to break free from that digital déjà vu, and really the power of just being more intentional online. Until next time, happy scrolling, and remember, be the change you want to see online.
Thanks for listening to Mythos AI. Stay tuned for more concise insights. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe for future episodes.